Good morning, good afternoon and good evening everyone, and Namaste from India. I welcome you all to Alpha, our Founders Day event. I'm Divya Mohan, based out of India headquarters, and I'm the host for the event. We celebrate the birthday of Mr. TV Sundaram Iyengar on the 22nd of March every year as the Founders Day. Our Alpha leader is an enterprising genius, a visionary whose thoughts were always well ahead of his time. It is only prudent to look back at the entrepreneurial journey of our founder, of his hardships, his belief, and his innovative ideas that helped him stand out in the crowd. Let us look at a short video of our founder under the theme Believe.
TVS. The word is synonymous with trust, values, and service excellence. Thrissur Vengaram Sundaram Iyengar, the founder of the TVS Group, began his entrepreneurial journey with these rich ideals. Our visionary Alpha leader was ambitious with a strong belief in new ventures. Born to barrister Vengaram Iyengar on 22nd March 1877 at Thrissur in Kerala, his father's dream was to make him an English-speaking barrister, a profession highly respected then. However, young Sundaram wanted to be an entrepreneur and try out a new venture. Motivated by John Norton, a popular Chennai barrister who urged students to choose entrepreneurship over government jobs, Sundaram quit studies and embarked on his first business venture, trading in pine trees with large contractors. Upset with his son's approach, his father forced him to quit the business and take up a job at the Indian Railways, which was considered as a dream job then. However, young Sundaram believed entrepreneurship was the way to go and did not last long in the job. He moved to Madurai, where TVS was originally headquartered, but was again forced to take up a clerical job at the Bank of Madras. After his father's death in 1908, TVS quit the bank job too and started trading in teakwood. His belief paid off. Within 4 years, he made a handsome profit. In 1912, armed with rupees 50,000, approximately $700 as seed capital, he started TVS bus service, pioneering time-bound bus operations and a ticketing system based on distance. TVS buses were so punctual that people even set their watches by the arrival of a TVS bus. When the bus transport contract expired, he started a small business house to repair and service bicycles and automobiles. In 1929, he had a big break when he won the dealership business from General Motors. Sundaram's innovative sales methods, coupled with quality and timely service to customers, helped the business to flourish. Sundaram believed in holistic development by ensuring people and society grew along with his business. He envisioned upskilling requirements for people way back in the 1930s and imparted training to household workers to take up jobs as mechanics, drivers, and operators. Around 1950, with over 2 decades of business excellence, General Motors recognized TVS among the world's greatest dealership networks. Sundaram smartly diagnosed what the business demanded and laid the foundation for generations to come. What started with just a seed capital of rupees 50,000, approximately $700, has today become 63,750 crore Indian rupees, almost 8.5 billion US dollars, a growth of 12.8 million times. Following our founder's footsteps, TVS SCS2, starting as an entrepreneurial venture, provides innovative technology-based solutions to its customers and has grown rapidly to become the second largest company by revenue in the group. It is important to remember the foundation laid by Sundaram on this occasion. He was a trailblazer, a successful entrepreneur and innovator who lives on as an inspiration, though he passed away on the 28th of April 1955. In the year 1956, the Indian government unveiled his bust in Madurai as a mark of honor. Come of the hour, come of the leader. Respect to our Alpha leader, TVS.
That was an interesting journey, all right, but it was unimaginable for someone to actually quit a secure government job on those days to pursue entrepreneurship. That risk-taking ability was a true quality of an entrepreneur that was optimally rewarded. May I now request Mr. Ravi Vishwanathan, our Managing Director, to deliver his context-setting address.
Good day to all my colleagues from TVS Supply Chain Solutions. It is indeed a great pleasure and privilege for me to address all of you on this 146th anniversary of our founder, Mr. TV Sundaram Iyengar. Mr. TV Sundaram Iyengar stood for a lot of things, but there are two things which I would call out. One is entrepreneurship. The other is extreme customer service. And these are two tenets that all the TVS Group companies have today imbibed, and we in TVS SCS are truly the epitome of these two fundamental tenets. Today, TVS is over an $8 billion industry. And when you look back at the humble beginnings, the vision of Mr. TV Sundaram Iyengar is clearly something which we should be very proud of. A person who was able to see 100 years ago the need for mobility, and starting with a very modest dealership with General Motors to where we are today, dominating the automobile landscape across the country and in many parts of the globe. We at TVS SCS are focusing, of course, on the supply chain solutions, not just from the automobile perspective where we started our journey, but today we are focused across all of the industrial segments. And we ourselves have a very, very ambitious vision of being a $2.5 billion company by the year 2025. And what we have done over the last few quarters has been truly phenomenal, and in many ways living up to the true spirit of TV Sundaram Iyengar. Over the last few quarters, we have really upped our performance, brought in a tremendous amount of predictability, and focused on customer service. All of this giving us a clear path towards profitable growth. As we embark on our journey towards being a listed company, I think it's even more important for us to live the values of Mr. TV Sundaram Iyengar. That of trust, value, and service. And trust comes from repeatedly being able to be predictable in a way that customers relate to the consistency of what we do. Trust comes from the fact that customers believe, and society at large believes, that TVS as a group will always stand for integrity, honesty, virtues which are not taught in schools but at home, and that's the embodiment of TVS. Value is when customers and employees and all of the community sees this as a huge multiplier of what happens in the ecosystem and all happening for the good. And service is really what we can do, not just to our customers or to our employees, but to mankind. I think as we progress, we will continue to be focusing on TVS and ensuring that we do right always. We bring high amount of value, and most importantly, be very caring to everybody, including the environment and the society that we all belong to. Thank you, and I look forward to all of your cooperation and fantastic performance as we continue to scale greater heights in TVS SCS. Happy Founders Day.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi, for your insightful address and the update on the business front. Let us now move on to the power segment. Today, we have very interesting set of leaders representing two generations of the TVS family. We have Mr. R. Dinesh, our Vice Chairman, the fourth generation family member, and Ms. Shailena Mutenna, Chief Operating Officer, the fifth generation family member, share their thoughts on the power of TVS legacy, the challenges and the opportunities they faced in the trade. Mr. Ravi Vishwanathan, our Managing Director, caught up with them for a freewheeling chat. Let's listen in.
So good day, Dinesh. It's a pleasure talking to you, and it's always inspirational to get words of wisdom from you, given your experience. So I thought it would be a good idea for us to have a tete-a-tete, and for the larger benefit of the TVS SCS family, I thought it would be great to have a conversation with you around the TVS family business and how it has evolved. So let me straight away start by saying, you are a fourth generation family member, and you, much like your grandfather, you've chosen to venture into new ventures, right? I mean, you didn't quite say, hey, here's the business, let me just focus on that. You decided to go into new ventures. So the question really is, what prompted that decision?
Thank you, Ravi, and a pleasure to be here. I think I would call it as one very big positive reason, and one I would call it defensive action if I look at it as to why we chose, why I had to venture into new areas. Let me start with the defensive first, because that will actually set the mindset for why we went to the positive side of it. The defensive was linked with the fact that I was actually entering into traditional business where I felt I was actually building or working for building others' brands, because we were in the dealership business. And as I started talking to the outside world, and there was one advisor with whom I had this conversation, Karan Khanna, who actually asked me, what is it that you wish to do? Do you wish to live on the brand, or do you wish to live off the brand, or do you really want to build the brand? And that actually made me think that rather than try to venture into very small adjacencies of the dealership business, that I should actually be looking at newer and bolder initiatives and actually a different thought process. That's what made me look at the opportunity which we had in the logistics sector at that time. And I think you know the story as to when Ravichandran came with this idea. We thought that this made business sense for us to get into it. So to summarize, I would say it was not at that time a thought of getting into a new business. It was that thought of building or making the brand TVS much stronger, not only in India but also in other markets, which kind of made it a very exciting reason as to why I ventured into new areas.
No, very interesting, Dinesh. It's definitely a lot of insights to people who can relate now to how the TVS brand and the TVS SCS brand also has grown. And my second question is related to that. You started TVS Logistics, which we rebranded as TVS SCS. And if you look at the TVS group, in the last 25 years, TVS SCS has now become the second largest revenue under the group. If you take the TVS as the larger TVS family. And to what do you credit this? And how did you see? Do you see this kind of phenomenal growth? And to what would you attribute this phenomenal growth to?
I mean, to tell you the truth, at the beginning, the idea was not that we were really looking at becoming maybe the second largest company, the larger TVS family group. Definitely at that point of time. But as things started evolving, the then chairman of the company, Suresh Krishna, actually asked a question to myself and Ravichandran, or I would say a question. He actually kind of set the tone by saying that the effort which you're going to put in for a $15 million business or a business which is going to be $1 billion is more or less the same. And when he made that point, I think it struck us that we should not be confining ourselves to, I would say, thinking small. But most importantly, as things evolved, we realized that not just as a business, but as a business which wishes to sustain, grow, innovate, and also reward and work with the stakeholders, scale becomes very important. And in the sector we were in, the supply chain side, I think the capabilities were all in different global markets. And the exciting part of the journey was to see how we could bring the capabilities from the developed markets into the developing markets. And I would say scale happened because we wanted to fulfill that vision. And as we build, I'm hoping very soon that we will be the largest business in the group, not as a competition, but as the fact that scale begets scale and begets success. And as we grow, this gives a potential opportunity to really build a business which is not just global, but has the capability to sustain itself for a much longer period of time, which is how TVS companies have been built.
No, fantastic. Scale begets scale, which begets growth. So just fantastic the way you put it. Under your leadership, you've had so much of, you've been very acquisitive, and you had the clear foresight to see this as a vehicle of growth. How do you see the brand perception change from the time you made the first acquisition, say, outside of India to today? How have you seen that brand perception change over the course of the last, say, 10, 15 years?
Actually, I smile at your question. The reason being that, there were two things I would say. The first small acquisition which we made in 2004 was actually, I would call it a big learning experience for us because we were venturing into UK. And as we entered into that market, I think first of all to convince the person to sell to us itself was a very big thing. But the real, I would say, big or bold step for us as an organization was the acquisition we made in 2008-9, which was the acquisition of Multipart. And there, I think I would be happy to state that I had to get the help of the British Deputy High Commissioner in Chennai to convince the sellers that TVS was a company whom they could trust and whom they could actually, sell to. But having said that, very soon I think we built a strong brand of, I would call it, humility in the way in which we approached the acquired entities. That is, learning from them, working with them, growing with the entrepreneurs or growing with the people who have been managing those businesses. So I would say that's the reason why we have been very successful in making these acquisitions. And last but not the least, I would say the people have grown with us, which has set us apart from a typical acquisition style. And that's why I think we have been successful in building this family of entrepreneurs who have now converted themselves to being very successful business people.
No, that's a very interesting point that you said, that you managed to keep the people who were probably the entrepreneurs from whom you acquired the company. And that probably leads me to the next question, really. So what is the secret sauce for the successful acquisition and integration? Because everybody knows, acquiring is easy, but integration and keeping the culture of the group is something which is very difficult. So how do you see that journey, of acquiring, integration, and of course, keeping the culture intact?
Yeah, it's, I would say there are three things, three fundamental things. The first was the fact that, like I mentioned, we were very humble acquirers. We were actually acquiring those companies because we wanted those capabilities. We were acquiring because we wanted to retain the talent and grow, help them grow, not just in the markets which they were present, but also in other global markets. And therefore, that was the first, I would call it, core approach. The second, which I think was, I would call it slightly more difficult, was to say what are the hard lines which the TVS values stood for. And we never looked at an acquisition where we didn't believe that there would be alignment with those values for the acquired entities. Therefore, the entrepreneurs and their TVS values were, I would say, in sync before we looked at an acquisition. The third was, I think, the hunger for growth. As long as the companies we were acquiring had the hunger for growth, and I would say in a couple of acquisitions where all the sellers were not on the same page, it was made very clear that maybe one of them or two of them would stay and the other may leave. But the fact is that we will continue the culture of the organization which we had acquired without sacrificing, or I would say using the right values of TVS to build to the acquired entities' values, so that the sum of it is not genuinely just some of the parts, but a significant uptake of the sum of the parts. Typically, that looked at only from a financial point of view in an acquisition, while we approach this from a cultural and I would call it fit between the people and the organization which TVS stood for.
But I'm sure that's not just a secret sauce. It's something much more than that, and that's probably the reason why you've been such a successful, I would say, business person who's acquired and integrated, and today is a $1 billion enterprise. So I'm sure that's a lot of good insights to people who are listening to this. One last question. You are the fourth generation in your family, and I'm sure there's something handed over from one generation to another. What would be that one advice or one thing that you keep in your memory every time and you recall that helps you, maybe in the way you manage your business, the way you have grown the business, or the way you think you need to look out for the future. So what's that one memory, one advice, one tip that was handed over to you from a previous generation that has helped you and continues to help you going forward?
Actually, it's not just one. I would say it's a couple of things. First is the fact, I think I was born and brought up in a way in which actually you realize very soon that what the business stood for was the relationship and trust which you built with the people who work for you, the people who are associated with the company, the people who do business with the company. And I think that's been one core learning which I would say I took from the previous generations. Not just from the fact of what they voiced, but the way in which they behaved, the way in which they dealt with these stakeholders, if I can use that word. That for me, I think was actually a big responsibility which I felt I had to fulfill going forward as being a fourth generation. And in a way, maybe I was one of the elders of the fourth generation to come on board. Therefore, it was, I would say, a big point which genuinely was something which you thought through every action which you did. The second element of it was the fact that India was coming out, if I can say so, into the global world as I also got into the business. And therefore, the one message which I did have was that TVS as an organization stood for what I would call the right approach to global business. And I think if I look at the kind of joint ventures we had in the early years when we set up manufacturing or the kind of export business which we were one of the pioneers to look at. And therefore, the two things which I would look at was the relationship with people and the fact that we should be open to embracing cultures which we may not be in the normal course of business dealing with. I think they were the two big learnings for me from the previous generations. And of course, like I mentioned, I was blessed by the fact that we had very senior people, not just unfortunately, I lost my father the year in which this company was set up. In fact, 13 days after this business was born, he passed away. But having said that, I had the privilege of working with my uncles and others who not just passed on the baton of what I had learned from my father, but also the previous generations of how they had seen the growth of the business. And like I said, embrace the culture of openness, which I think has helped us become a global organization much faster than maybe other companies.
So relationship and trust, I think you put it well, and people who have worked with you, I'm sure people who worked with you for 25 years, people like me who worked on you for the last 25 months can definitely relate to those two attributes. Dinesh, you're an amazing human being who, people definitely look up because you're a person you all trust. You're a role model when it comes to building relationships. So I can really relate to that. I'm sure that all of us who've been in this journey can relate to that. But thank you for your wonderful thoughts and for your wonderful insights. This is the first time we are launching Alpha. Founders Day is not new, but every March 22nd it will be known as Alpha, and honoring the founding father of TVS. And your insights today is incredible in terms of value for all our colleagues who are listening to this. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ravi. And I'm happy that we actually got the right term for the Founders Day, which is Alpha. So congratulations for that as well, and wish everybody a great success going forward.
Thank you. On behalf of all from TVS, it's a big thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Shai, let me start by asking you, as a fifth generation family member, what is it that you see as changes in the TVS group itself? And specifically, what cultural shifts do you see within TVS Supply Chain Solutions now that you've been here for the past 4 to 5 years?
The TVS group and TVS SCS as a whole has grown significantly in the last decade. So I think the challenge for us, especially today, is how do we assimilate the people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, while also retaining the inherent core values of our founder. I think trust, value, service is still very much part of our core DNA. And customer centricity and integrity in our service dealings is absolutely paramount. I think it's important that we continue to keep pace with the global change, but maintain our inherent values that make us TVS.
As a young leader and also as a member of the executive leadership of the TVS SCS business, what really are you seeing as challenges and opportunities in the landscape? And what would your advice be really for aspiring leaders in the TVS SCS leadership system?
I think in India especially, we're in a growth phase, and there's several new sectors that the company is expanding into, whether it's our last mile sector, e-commerce, retail. There are several opportunities now for young leaders to be able to pursue, bigger roles and bigger responsibilities. And the one thing that I think TVS does well is that we don't discriminate based on age or experience. If we find the right person for the right role, it doesn't matter what their background is. The other thing is, why limit ourselves just to India in terms of opportunities? TVS SCS is a global company. So in terms of mobility, there are so many opportunities for young leaders. As long as they are seen and heard, they will be given a seat at the table.
Shai, we have seen a lot of new competitive forces come into the marketplace. Some of them are contemporary brands which have reinvented themselves. Some of them are new age tech brands which are posing a very tangential set of challenges, if you can call it. What, in your view, are you doing to overcome these challenges? And also, in terms of both innovation and technology, do you think that we have invested enough, or we are on the path of doing enough to take on such competitive forces? And how do you see the perception shift within our own customer base?
Yeah. I think competition has significantly increased, especially in the last several years, because of the amount of PE investment that the logistics industry is seeing, and especially in the last mile. Very tight stats to deliver to customers, the expectations on technology. Previously, if we were able to give someone a WMS or a last mile system, it was considered a value add. Now it's a routine hygiene factor in any of the proposals that we, give to our customer. So I think it's critically important that we make sure that technology is a core service offering and no longer a value add for our customers. And for that, we need to invest in the right systems and in the right people to be able to deploy the systems. Where I think TVS still has an edge compared to its new age competitors is the fact that customer connect and customer centricity is still our number one priority. I think the way we deal with our customers is something that differentiates us from our competitors, and that's not something that we should ever lose. The challenges that I think we see right now with respect to talent, especially young talent, is that the job market, at least within the logistics industry, is exploding. So it's important for us to retain our talent and invest in their growth and professional development. So I think it's very important that we have the right HR metrics and the right programs to ensure that we're giving the young talent the platform that they deserve, as well as doing everything we can to retain them and enabling them to take ownership to be part of the SCS growth story.
That was a power pack conversation. Thank you, Mr. Ravi Vishwanathan, for your engaging interaction. And thank you, Mr. Dinesh and Ms. Shailena, for sharing your experiences. No event is complete without awards.
This time, it's going to be a special award for individuals under the category TVS ALPHA Award for Social Contribution. This award is intended to honor individuals who have provided exceptional service to people, communities, and the society at large, either within the context of their chosen profession or as a passion they have chosen to pursue. The first recipient of the TVS ALPHA Award for Social Contribution is Mr. Ross Thor from TVS SCS RICO. Ross has devoted much of his spare time in the past 19 years to football coaching, and his hard work and dedication have seen him achieve the highest status of a UEFA A licensed coach. As a fully qualified coach operating at the highest level, Ross is now part of the coaching workforce targeted with impacting 15,000 players and coaches. Another recipient of the TVSI Alpha Award for Social Contribution is Ms. Lisa Saxon-Bate from TVS SAS Europe. Lisa demonstrates passion, commitment, and contribution towards the society through her weekly health and well-being running groups. She also hosts a Run Talk Run group at weekends and is currently guiding many new runners to their 5K goal. In addition, Lisa runs the Brave with Shave Head Shave campaign for charity.
Congratulations to all the winners. May I now request our fourth generation entrepreneur and our Vice Chairman, Mr. R. Dinesh, to deliver his keynote address.
I'm happy to join all of you on this Founders Day, which has now been rechristened as Alpha. I think, I don't know how many of you are aware, but I'm the fourth generation of the family, and when my great-grandfather started or ventured into new business at that time, I think it was a big step on an entrepreneurial journey. Having worked at that time the State Bank of India, the Imperial Bank, to set up on this was, I think, not just a big step, but also a big risk which he took when he started that business. Having said that, I think we in TVS Supply Chain Solutions have also been, in a way, ready to take the big step forward, because when TVS Supply Chain Solutions or TVS Logistics Services, it is called at that point of time, was started, we were venturing into a new area for TVS and a very new and nascent business model which was not at that time very popular in India. As we have started the journey, I think we have reached a level today where the family has not only just looked at the future, but looked at the future of the generations. And our part of the group is now, as the parent company, as TVS Mobility, which very aptly fits the businesses under that umbrella. That covers not just the TVS supply chain business, but also the aftermarket distribution, the aftermarket platform which we have set up, which is not just in India, but also covers UK and other parts of the world. And of course, we still have a traditional business in manufacturing of tires, the two-wheeler tires especially, of the road tires, and also the rubber components which we manufacture. So all of it is connected in one form, which is the way in which we create this mobility of the businesses, of people, and the way in which we interact with each other. Today, TVS Supply Chain Solutions will be the leader in this group, not just from a size perspective, but also the fact that we are globally relevant and present in various geographies. As we may be aware, we are having started with a small seed capital of less than 3 million or 3,000 pounds or 3 million rupees. We have today reached a stage where we have filed our DRHP for going public in India. And I'm sure when you heard me speak in various other occasions, you have heard saying that there are even more exciting plans ahead. And the very fact that we're going to become a public company is, I think, creating a significant new opportunity for all of us to embark on the second phase of our journey, if I can use that word. As I mentioned, we have not only been pioneers from the logistics sector in India, but also the fact that we are looking at this vision of ourselves in 2025 as chasing and achieving profitable growth as we continue to grow to reach a $2.5 billion turnover by 2025. For us in TVS Supply Chain Solutions, we can learn a lot from how our founder, TV Sundaram, or my great-grandfather, actually was able to build this business and achieve to where we are, where the group was or the family members have achieved. I see this as a great opportunity for TVS Mobility and TVS Supply Chain to look at ourselves as being the leaders in terms of not just the supply chain business, but also the way in which we integrate and work with each other across geographies, across cultures, and across business models. I think as we embark on our next phase of the journey, the opportunity of getting together and creating value for all our stakeholders, for our customers, for our employees, for the society with which we integrate with, not just being responsible citizens, but also creating tomorrow or in a better way is something which we all look forward to. That's what the founder did when he started way back in 1911. That's what the family members did when they ventured into new business in 1943, in 1960s, in 1970s to get into two-wheeler. And I think we have become the pioneer as far as the logistics and supply chain sector are concerned. And that's where we will not just honor the memory of our founder, but build on what he has achieved in various other businesses and create a world-class institution which makes the TVS proud that the institution carries my great-grandfather's name, and most importantly, builds the future as we build the TVS Mobility brand going forward. So for us as a group, TVS Supply Chain Solutions is something which was set off as an entrepreneurial business. Today is built scale and I would say pioneers innovation in this sector in India, and we look forward to great success together as we continue to build, live and use the brand for the better success of all of our stakeholders. I take this opportunity to wish all success to all of us in the year ahead and look forward to a great future together in creating a more successful TVS Supply Chain Solutions, a more, I would call it, benefiting all stakeholders as we grow in this journey, which is what TVS stands for. All the best to you and wish you great success.
We have now come to the Us segment of the event. We have seen in the earlier film about how Mr. Sundaram Iyengar thought about inclusive growth way back in 1930s. We at TVS SCS have been doing multiple activities that support the community at large. After all, we believed in the power of us. The us is an inclusive word. It includes our customers, our employees, our society, and every stakeholder that we work with. So let us now look at our CEOs who will take us through the initiatives that are being done at the respective entity level.
To all our TVS SCS colleagues and friends across the globe, I am Andrew Jones, CEO of TVS SCS Europe. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to mark the birthday of our group founder by sharing with you our progress and our plans to go beyond the business and learn from and build on his vision. This year we've continued to raise the importance of the following key initiatives: corporate social responsibility, environmental social governance, and the health and well-being of our TVS employees. I am proud to share with you the following presentation that demonstrates our commitment and our success.
We have created the TVS Pledge to protect the environment. In the UK, we want to be carbon neutral by 2025. We aim to ensure our supply chain is as sustainable as possible by working with our suppliers. We have a three-pronged approach to reducing our CO2 emissions. Primarily, we will invest in the most efficient technologies to reduce energy consumption and replace our current energy supplies with self-generated and renewable energies. Finally, we also intend to offset our CO2 emissions through accredited schemes. Social value now forms 10% of the scoring for any public sector bids that we submit, and our work in the environment supports this. We are committed to achieving net zero by 2025 and have undertaken a number of initiatives to support this. Net zero in just 3 years? Small initiatives all add up to a significant reduction. There has been a move to hybrid vehicles in the company car fleet. Zero waste to landfill. Our partnership with Suez means we do not send any waste to landfill. It is either recycled or reused. Our staff canteen uses no single-use cutlery and minimal wrapping for sandwiches. TVS is proud to have a carbon neutral working group. This group meets at least every 4 weeks and is attended by at least one director. In addition, we also have an environmental working group and social value working group. These groups meet to share best practices and enhance our office environment. By changing our packaging supplier in 2019, we reduced our plastic waste by a third. We ensured that all packaging included recycled cardboard and paper. We offer a cycle to work scheme. We offer all employees bike storage and shower facilities on site. This encourages people to cycle. and thereby reduce their emissions by not using their own cars. We are also proud holders of ISO 14001. This shows our commitment to being environmentally friendly, and we've recently extended this award at our Preston North facility following an audit. We recently supported the planting of new trees in the local community, and our Europe offices have recently been awarded the Silver EcoVadis Sustainability Rating. In 2019, we upgraded our office lighting to PIR lighting to reduce waste, whilst also using more environmentally friendly LED bulbs. PIR lighting is also used in 40% of our warehouse. This reduces waste. Service is a core value to TVS. We actively serve our local communities and charities. Underpinning this work is Assist, our own in-house charity, supported by colleagues and making contributions to our community. Over the last year, we have provided support to children in need, the Chorley Titans football team, and the Phoenix Flyers, who recently delivered hockey lessons for disabled local children. Our staff also contributed to a local food bank leading up to Christmas, providing essentials for families in need, as well as supporting an Indian charity as part of the COVID-19 global relief effort. One staff member took his community support further by completing the Dam Buster ride, raising funds for the RAF. TVS also provides regular support to the official Armed Forces charity. We sponsor the race day at the Chepstow Racecourse, and we also sponsored Olympic athlete Kieran Baird. To help support our internal colleagues, we also have a health and wellbeing steering group. Over the long-term future, we are committed to reducing our carbon emissions. Our Chorley HQ is in scope for the installation of solar panels. We are committed to science-based targets to help us reduce our carbon output, which we will supplement through approved carbon offsetting exercises.
I hope the video has shown our progress and success, and we will develop these initiatives further in the following year. Thank you.
Dear colleagues, by now you have heard about many of our plans and initiatives around the business and how we plan to continue developing and growing it aggressively. I'm here today to ask you to join us in going beyond the business. When we think beyond the business, we're talking about environmental, social, and governance, or ESG initiatives. Our environmental commitments are underpinned by our ISO 14001 certifications here in North America. In order to take those commitments further, we continue to pursue ever more aggressive targets in areas such as renewable energy, alternative fuels, and other ways to reduce our carbon footprint. This also includes working with our customers on special initiatives, whether it be solar-powered facilities, more efficient vehicles. Next, our social commitments. As our business grows, so will our investment in our people, as well as the communities they live and work in. Recognizing that our people are our most important asset, our actions and our policies are designed to ensure fair and equal treatment for all. Looking forward, as we strive to continue to create a diverse and world-class workforce, we will continue to increase our investments in training and development as well. We also continue to encourage our team members to support their local communities, such as our collaboration with Habitat for Humanity and other local organizations. Third, as TVS continues to diversify and become an increasingly complex global business, corporate governance becomes fundamental to our sustainability. Governance includes transparency and accountability in everything we do, helping to create a culture of positive change. Our recently launched Global Code of Conduct and whistleblower policies set the framework for how we expect to conduct ourselves in the marketplace. Together, all of these components of an effective ESG plan require active participation from all of us, all of you. Please join me as we continue to go beyond the business the TVS way.
Hello everybody. On behalf of the India team, let me wish you a very happy Founders Day. On this occasion, let me take you through some of the activities on the environment, social and governance front that we have been doing in the India business. One of the most important ones that we have been doing is in terms of increasing the gender diversity and women workforce participation as part of an equal opportunity employment initiative. We have over 1,000 women who have been hired from the Ashwini Sita Foundation, which is an NGO which helps underprivileged women find employment opportunities. Over 5% of our workforce is from the women category. The second area that we have been focused on is in terms of green packaging. As against one-time use and throw wooden packaging, we have embarked on a journey of using reusable, recyclable packaging, plastic pallets, steel racks, what have you, which can be used continuously and repeatedly. The third initiative, and one of them along with one of our premier auto customers in India, is in terms of increasing the green coverage through a very focused tree plantation drive. And many employees have been engaged in these activities along with our customers. Going forward, other initiatives that we will be focusing on will be to convert the maximum of our two-wheeler fleet, which are used for last mile critical inventory deliveries, from regular motorcycles and two-wheelers to electric bikes. And we have over 200 of them which we plan to convert in the next year. We have moved most of our material handling equipment, forklifts, pallet trucks, reach trucks, from fossil fuel based, diesel and kerosene based, to electric vehicles as part of this initiative. And as part of a large network in India of over 700 material handling equipment, you can imagine the improvement we have been making to the overall carbon footprint. We are also working closely with the National Skill Development Council to try and give employment opportunities to underprivileged people. Through training, we have actually a full-fledged training school to let people, impart training skills to people in the Chennai area. One of the other key initiatives we think is in terms of shared transportation. As unlike most parts of the globe where employees find their own way, we have encouraged them to travel together, thereby reducing the amount of pollution that we create and burning of fossil fuel. We have also started embarking on activities which include green warehousing, with eco-friendly lighting, reducing the electricity footprint, with environment-friendly materials, in an effort to overall improve the ESG standards. Once again, wish you a very happy Founders Day and best wishes for the year ahead.
Greetings to all TVS SCS colleagues and friends across the globe. I am very pleased to have this opportunity to mark the birthday of Mr. TV Sundaram Iyengar, our group founder. We choose to remember Sundaram on his birthday to realign ourselves with the corporate social responsibility values that were so important to him and enabled him to start a business in 1911 with 2 buses that has grown into the 8.5 billion multi-global company we are today. Much has been written and said about Sundaram, but this quote from the former head of state of the Kingdom of Travancore, C.P. Ramaswamy, I think is appropriate for today. Industrialists might be divided into 2 categories: those who looked for dividends and looked upon industry as a means to an end, namely the accumulation of more money, and those who regarded industry as both the means and the end, who ploughed capital back into the industry and made it a thing of real significance for the country at large. Sundaram, I can confidently say, belongs to the latter category. So what are we doing at TVS Rico to go beyond the business and learn from and build on Sundaram's vision? Last year we published our carbon reduction plan, outlining our commitment to reducing our emissions by 15% over the next 4 years, and a roadmap to become fully carbon neutral. We currently have initiatives designed to reduce our carbon footprint across our various business activities. These include the introduction of carbon-conscious technologies, including Courier Alliance, our dispatch system, which recently won the TVS Excellence in Innovation Award. The system optimises the use of vehicles for return loads, multi-job consolidation, meaning fewer vehicle journeys and a reduction in empty vehicle miles driven. In addition, our ever-expanding fleet of push bikes and the phasing in the use of electric vans, which significantly reduces emissions for our customers and our carbon footprint. our extensive UK pick-up, drop-off and intelligent box network moves spare parts closer to end users and further reduces miles driven. Within our largest warehouse facilities, we have introduced motion sensor lighting, and our new location in Dublin has a low emissions air source heat pump system. To support our employees manage the challenges that the past 18 months has brought about, we have invested in a new employee assistance programme. The programme provides a range of benefits, including a free 24-hour confidential helpline where colleagues can speak to a professionally trained counsellor on a range of issues dealing with anxiety, money and debt concerns, bereavement and relationship challenges. We have more CRS activities planned for 2022. I would like to thank you all again for this opportunity to share what we are doing and realign with the vision of our founder, Sundaram Iyengar. Take care everyone and stay safe and enjoy the celebration of this special day. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Vittorio here from GFS, and I'd like to share some insights about CSR and ESG. CSR is about corporate social responsibilities involving practices intended to have a positive impact on the world. Some examples are improving labor laws, volunteering, and donating. ESG is environmental, social, and governance, and involving sustainability and focused investments, such as socially and ethically responsible investing, as well as sustainable and impact investing. Our CSR and ESG activities are focused around our employees, customers, and stakeholders. Our culture is going beyond the business, the TVS way. This is a company responsibility, but it is also our responsibility. Let me give you a sample of some of the GFS involvements, starting with a congratulations again to GFS India team, who were awarded the Winner of Excellence in ESG at Genesis 2021. Some of the activities our team did were planting 1,750 trees, education assistance for children, medical assistance for vision surgery for senior citizens, and food donations for orphans. Our Australia team shifted from municipal water to rainwater tanks. They also drove several new recycling projects, and they transitioned from multiple warehouses to a single site, achieving significant efficiencies and reduction in carbon footprint. Our Thailand team has been involved in an annual charity race event with one of our biggest customers, Brother, in the Brother Beat Cancer Run for the last 8 years in a row. So great job by our Thailand team. And our Malaysia team, during a hard COVID lockdown, provided transport for food delivery to struggling families. Lastly, our Spain team have had years of ongoing support with 3 well-respected foundations in the Spanish market. And I'd like to just thank all of our GFS team for the excellent involvement with each of these organizations and activities. There are other examples throughout the GFS organization that I didn't mention, so I'd like to just pass on a thank you and a congratulations to the entire team. So much we can do, and never enough. Believe in the power of us. Thank you.
Wow, that was really a revelation for the number of community outreach activities that we undertake as an organization. While it is good to know the activities undertaken by the individual entities, we use this opportunity to share with you some broader initiatives that we do at the group level. We have our TVS beacons who provide a ray of hope to numerous people in the world we share. There are members of the TVS family who are involved in activities which enhance the life of the people and for the overall development of the society. We have reached out to them to understand more about their initiatives. To begin with, we have our colleague, Ms. Pallavi Nair, meet up with Ms. Sudha Balasubramanian, founder of Ashwini Sita Foundation, which works quite closely with underprivileged women in the country to make them employment ready and be more independent. Let us now listen in to the conversation.
Hi ma'am, it's wonderful to have this opportunity to speak with you, especially on the occasion of Founders Day. And as you know, the theme of this Founders Day is Believe in the Power of Us. And when we talk about us, it's about us as the TVS community, the TVS stakeholders. And given this, with this theme in mind, we want to take this opportunity to talk about the Ashwini Sita Foundation and the impacts that it has had. So ma'am, just to get started, could you tell us a little bit about the Ashwini Sita Foundation, please?
Yes, Ashwini Sita Foundation was founded for financially empowering women. When I grew up in a family which could give me a very good education. They opened many doors for me, and they gave me many opportunities. So I was lucky, I had a lucrative job. I chose to, leave my career and start Ashwini Sita Foundation. But I feel in India there are millions of women who don't have the choice, nor do they have an opportunity. And Ashwini Sita Foundation was started for women like them.
Oh, that's beautiful. And the name Ashwini Sita Foundation, such a beautiful name. I just want to know what the inspiration is behind that name.
So Pallavi, it is actually dedicated. I've dedicated the foundation to my sister Sita, and I've named it after my sister also. I lost her when she was very young, and her goals were not fulfilled. And Ashwini basically represents all the women in India.
That's a really beautiful inspiration behind that. So could you tell us a little bit about the process that goes into identifying projects and identifying the candidates for this cause?
Yes, we actually do it in two ways, Pallavi. One is that we skill and place women. When I say that, it is basically we work with corporates. We ascertain the kind of requirements they have, and based on that we identify beneficiaries. We go through a rigorous interview process. We mentor them and we place them. Once we do that, then we also from time to time do training so that they would ultimately be strong independent women. So this is one of the ways we empower them. So in the second method, Pallavi, we collaborate with like-minded NGOs, and we assess projects with potential, and based on the projects, we also then identify women who are willing to. Obviously, the women who fit in our target market, who are willing to work in the projects, and who are in that stage in their lives where they want to become financially independent, and we set them up.
So ma'am, I know you touched upon it briefly, but could you tell us a little bit more about the positive impact your foundation has had, and maybe share a couple of success stories?
So the tangible benefits, Pallavi, the first one I would say is sustainability. So what I mean by that is that we have provided the skill to the women. We have provided her all the tools. We have provided her the last mile, as I mentioned, where she can sell her wares. And the only thing she has to do is just continue to do what she does. And with that, she is sustainable for life. She has financial sustainability. And that's one of the great impacts we have created for her and for all the beneficiaries of ASF. The second one is that when she takes a loan from us and she repays it, she knows that this money goes back to help another woman just like her. So she is actually paying it forward, and that is a very, very big impact even on her, where she feels proud to actually make that payment back. So the third tangible impact is that we educate and encourage women to practice gender parity, and also to provide equal opportunities to all their children. And we are hoping that by reiterating this to the ASF women, we will hope that they would reiterate to their community, to their children, and then with generations to come, this would become like a norm. So those are the three very tangible impact I would think that ASF has created. The intangible impact, Pallavi, is priceless. It is seeing shy, introverted, women who feel very awkward to even talk or to convey their opinion when I first meet them, even before they can become our beneficiaries, to seeing them 1 year down the line when they've started their journey of financial empowerment. They become strong, independent, lively, confident women who come back and tell me how their family, where earlier they would have just been a wallpaper in the house, they are actually called for decision making, and they are asked for opinions. So these women are strong, confident, and happy, and that is a huge impact, and it's priceless for me.
And this is so inspiring because I love that with what you're doing, it's not just one end beneficiary, but it spreads from there. So the effect multiplies from there on.
That's our hope.
So, yeah, it's very inspiring. So just to wrap it up, TVS SCS, we work very closely with the Ashwini Sita Foundation for the Project Entry initiative. Could you tell us a little bit about this initiative and what has your experience been working for this group?
Yes. So actually, TVS Project Entry was one among the very first projects which we worked on with a corporate, and it was a brainchild of Ravi Chandran, and we worked together, and there were many hours put in together before we formulated a plan. Basically, we went and identified projects within SES who were willing to supplement their male employees with female employees. They said that we want to try it. They had not tried it before, so they tried it, and we had really good reviews. After 6 months and after 8 months, that the quality of work and the attrition and the numbers, they were really good. So we went to more projects. So it has actually grown quite a bit from when it started, and we've done extremely well. And we hope to go great guns with TVS SCS, and we can't wait to look forward, or we can't wait to see what happens next with the project.
That's really exciting to hear about, and I'm really looking forward to see how much more of an impact we can make on women in our community going forward with this. Thank you again, ma'am, for being here with us today on Founders Day and giving us your time to talk about the Ashwini Sita Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi.
Happy Founders Day. I hope you enjoyed this conversation and have drawn inspiration from this. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me here, and wishing you all a very happy Founders Day.
Empowering women by instilling confidence and training is really inspiring, isn't it? Glad to know that TVS SCS is also associated with them. We have another interesting personality who's also from the TVS family, Ms. Mridula Ramesh, the founder of Sundaram Climate Institute. Our colleague, Ms. Preeti Kichippan, caught up with her in an interesting conversation. Let's listen in.
On account of Founders Day 2022, I'm here at this beautiful place in Madurai with a member of the TVS family, Mrs. Mridula Ramesh herself, a very dynamic personality, I would say. Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon. Very nice meeting up with you. She is the founder of the Sundaram Climate Institute. So, ma'am, tell me a little bit about the institute.
Climate has come to the forefront of all our conversations in the last few years. I think while we speak in this comfortable room, outside, there is a threat of a heat wave. So I think it's very much common knowledge today, and especially for the next generation, they're very, very concerned about this rapid heating up of our planet. The climate has changed. It's not going to change. It's already changed. And a way to sort of build resilience within communities is to focus on water and waste. So when I started working in this field, I realized there's not enough local data to make an informed assessment of what will work, what can work, where exactly the problems are. And that was the single point of starting the institute, to find out where the problems are and what is needed and what will work.
Having living in this monetary world, I think something towards the climate is quite commendable, ma'am.
I think climate change is the biggest business risk that businesses will face in this century. So it's also good business sense to look at it. And I think if your environment, if your population, if society is not healthy, businesses are not going to be healthy.
Absolutely, I cannot agree with you more. Now, having started this institute, and I think, excuse my ignorance, it might be the easiest part to do, the easier business to do. Now, having started this institute, how do you gauge your success and progress, and how do you see the impact of the institute on your society in a progressive manner?
See, I would say the institute feeds into some of the other work. For instance, both my books have drawn very deeply on the work of my institute. I couldn't have written them without that. I've invested in about almost 20 startups now, which deal primarily with climate resilience. So waste, mobility, water, agri-tech, and all of that investment, having led it, having convinced others to invest in it, wouldn't have been possible without the work of the institute. Apart from that, I think we possess a granular understanding which helps me talk to policymakers and make solutions which wouldn't have been possible without that information.
Have you looked at any new technology or systems to support your initiatives, and has the Climate Institute adopted any?
So, Preeti, two things. I think technology is a tool, which most people, get overawed by the technology, and we don't understand fully it's a tool. And the context and the use it's put to is more important than the tool itself. So one of the technologies we've focused is, I think, one of the most profound and impactful technologies there are. People don't understand it very well, but it's an ancient technology. It's the Aries, the Kammais, the Kurams, the tank systems. And unlike others, we've really gone and seen the link between surface water and groundwater. We've crowdsourced information from thousands of people in Madurai to understand precisely how tanks impact groundwater levels, right? And I think once we took our work to the national level, to the presenting to the water minister, the expert committee on water policy in India, we were able to show, look, this is the data to show you how it impacts groundwater. The second technology we've looked at is again, use context matters a lot. So we've been studying waste extensively. So how, one of the things I live in is a house that's nearly net zero. And how we do that is, we don't use a one-size-fits-all technology. We use a biogas plant for some of our waste. It saves us about a cylinder a month. It replaces the LPG in the kitchen, and it's made from the food waste in the house. We convert our garden waste into compost, which is wonderful. We grow our own tomatoes and kirei and all of that, which is great. And at the same time, we prevent tons of waste that would have gone into the corporation dustbin and kept inside our house, because we've reimagined. But the philosophy is before the technology. The philosophy is see waste as a resource. Make it easy and convenient. And then you figure out what is the technology first. Unfortunately, today most people start with the technology and say, what will I do next? Which is a problem. So I think, technologies like the tank systems. It's a technology that's hundreds of years old, or thousands of years old, but it's fabulous. It's one of those strongest technologies I see in the world today. Yeah.
So, considering corporate like ours, now we talk about CSR and ESG and all of that. Now, how do you think corporates like ours can give itself or contribute towards the society and the environment? What bit could we do?
Be a responsible citizen. I think in our factories, apart from Sundaram Climate Institute, I also help run two textile factories, and there again we don't send any waste out. Every gram of waste is weighed and managed. We don't send out any water either. We have sewage treatment plants which we treat our sewage and reuse it. It's like large parts of our factory are occupied by forests, so and farms and crops and all of that. So our treated water goes in there. I think we've been early and aggressive adopters of renewable energy. We have had windmills for over a decade. We are looking at how we can reduce our carbon footprint even further. I think again, people think of renewable sources of energy, whereas energy efficiency is an underused tool. And each of our motors in our factory has a thermal signature which we update constantly. And we just make sure we're one of the most energy efficient factories out there. And I think that keeps our carbon footprint down. And if there are corporates listening to this, it keeps your cost down. So it's a double bottom line. And I think when people work in an environment where they feel cared for and where they know it's a responsible thing, they feel happier too. So it's a good thing.
Absolutely wonderful.
And I don't see the trade-off. Yeah.
Colleagues, I feel blessed to be a part of this conversation with Mrs. Mridula Ramesh. Thank you so much for your time, ma'am, and happy Founders Day.
A very thought-provoking message by Ms. Mridula Ramesh, and it is indeed everybody's responsibility to remain the custodian of our environment. We will now have a video from Ms. Shobhana Ramachandran, yet another fourth-generation TVS family member who runs not-for-profit educational institutes through which they provide technical training to students. Let's listen in.
Hello, I'm Shobhana Ramachandran, director of the company, and I'm also a fourth-generation member of the TVS family. I'm very happy to connect with all of you today on the very important occasion of the Founders Day. Our family is very committed to running highly profitable business and at the same time being socially responsible. While we are driven by this mission, we also believe in investing into human asset and enhancing the quality of the lives of people in and around us. This has been in our DNA, and I just thought I would share a few instances of this being spelled out in our lives. My grandfather, way back in 1961, felt that there was a need for good quality education in Madurai, a small town where the initial family lived and started businesses. So he decided to start a primary school with less than maybe 50 students at that point of time. And over 5 decades, this institution has grown and many more institutions have been created by the family. And today we have 6 institutions and more than 10,000 students studying in those institutions. We can say that we are not only training children to go through formal education, but we are also training them to become better human beings. We want them to be competent, at the same time compassionate. We believe that if they have got to become compassionate human beings, competent human beings, they need to be guided. And that guidance can come only from the teaching faculty, with whom they are closely associated in their entire journey between K and 12, grade kindergarten to grade 12. So a teacher training college is being started to train these teachers, and also after they pass out of the colleges, when they become regular teachers, at regular intervals, they are also being trained to the training function. Research is being done as to what can help them deliver curriculum better So all these initiatives are housed under the education program that we run in Madurai. We also help many schools in and around the state in order to become better institutions through this program. Physical wellness has also been another focus, and towards this there has been a hospital which has started again way back in the 60s, and many people who have day-to-day issues go through this hospital. It's more or less a nursing home of today, you can say, and it has helped many. And also we found that just the physical well-being alone is not adequate to be addressed. Mental well-being is very important. So a program called Velicham, which means brightness, has been started, which help people with, I would say, who have been mentally affected for various reasons, go through, get over, I would say, their disability or sickness at that point of time, and come out and become part of the regular human society. In this counseling program, it is youth, older people, industrial workers, or family. All of them have been counseled by the counselors who have these capabilities to address. This need to help out, to reach people and help them, has not been part of only a few. It has been that of many in the family. My grand aunt was a child widow. After seeing the plight of the people in villages around Madurai, she decided to start a model village, I would say a unique model village, about 60-65 kilometers from Madurai. And it had the blessings of Mahatma Gandhi, and it is called Gandhi Gram. She found that there was very high level of child mortality, and female children were put to death by the family because of societal pressures. And there were a lot of women who did not want to put their child to death, but who abandoned them because they were not able to manage to bring them up. So, taking all this into consideration, she started a hospital, she started an orphanage and an educational institution and training institution. Thereby the children, the female children especially, were abandoned, were given a safe home, educated, and a livelihood organized for them. In fact, many marriages have been conducted by my grand aunt with the support of the family, everybody pitching in, giving something as a gift so that the child, the lady who has grown in that institution, is able to start a new life in a happy atmosphere. So I can keep on stating that like this, many such initiatives that have been started, but I just would like to just mention a few of these and say that we are proud of our past, we are cognizant of our present, and we continue to walk consistent into our future. And I wish you all the very best on this occasion. Thank you.
It is heartening to note that at every level, we follow the footsteps of our founder to keep thinking about our society and grow with them. With that video, we have now come to the conclusion of the event. I personally had many takeaways from this event in the concept of belief, power, and us. It has inspirations to be drawn. I'm sure you all would have enjoyed the program. With good memories, it's me, Divya Mohan, signing off. Thank you.